Hello there once again, fellow peregrinos. Welcome to El Camino de Santiago Pilgrims podcast, where we talk about planning, preparation and packing for walking the Camino de Santiago, as well as tips, tricks and hacks to make your journey along the way a lot more enjoyable. We want to make sure you have the time of your life, just like I did and just like our guest did in this week's episode. Elena Semkina has just walked during COVID times the Camino Frances. So it's going to be interesting to hear about that experience and the differences between walking during normal times and walking during these pandemic challenging times. But we're going to, before we dive into that issue and talk about that, Elena, please take us back to the time and place where you first decided to walk the Camino and tell us why. Tell us the big, interesting story. We're all sat around the campfire in Finisterre. Imagine that. So go for it.
Hello, Bradley. First of all, it's really an honor to be part of this podcast. And I started to listen it probably from December, and I would never guess that once I will be part of it. So thanks a lot.
The pleasure is all mine. And I should say as well that you're also from Russia, living in Sweden, and your English is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Coming back to the beginning, since I was born and raised in Russia, when I was a teenager, it was quite popular to read one famous Brazilian writer. Guess his name?
Let me guess. It's something beginning with P and
Right.
ends in an O.
Exactly.
Paulo
It was
Coelho.
Paulo Coelho, yes. And it was a lot of books of him that I read, and in a lot of books he is mentioning the way with a capital letter, and he's referring to the Camino. And I started to think about that. Oh my God, it's interesting thing, but it's not something that stuck in my mind. And 1 year ago, I was on vacation in Mallorca. And I was following one girl on Instagram. I would say that her type was a Barbie girl, but she decided to do a Camino. And I was so obsessed with this idea. I started all my mornings with watching her stories, and I thought that it's something that I really need to do. It's such an adventure, and I took a decision 1 year ago, we can say. And since I was in Mallorca, I started to talk with the local people about this topic, and I started to do my investigation, started planning 1 year ago.
So just for those that are interested that might want to follow this Barbie girl you said that's walked the
Yes.
Camino, what's her Instagram handle?
It was some girlish topic. I don't really know why I was following her. It was just, I can't say that I will recommend her. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. And you said that you spoke to the locals in Mallorca about the Camino. What did they tell you about it?
They told me that, wow, it's great. And none of them who I was talking about did a Camino by themselves, but all of them, they told me, I have a friend who did it, and I have a friends or relatives who did it, and they found it really life-changing, and it's adventure, and go for it. So they cheered me to do it.
And imagine that you were to go back to the Camino, say, for example, tomorrow. You had such a good time. You only came back a week ago, didn't you? So
Yes.
You've still got that Camino buzz and
Yeah.
obviously all the lessons of the road fresh in your memory. So what would be the first three things you'd put in your backpack to take with you?
If we're not talking about obvious things, I would say that now it would be definitely sun protection, because my Camino was in July and it's incredibly hot, really. Of course, I was listening and reading a lot of things in advance, and I think that my preparation in theory was just perfect. And I've heard many times that heat is a big problem, but once you are in these conditions, you are really understand and realize how big this problem is. Then I would say probably squeezable water bottle, because I found it very handy. It doesn't occupy any space in your backpack once it doesn't have a water, and it weighs nothing, so it's very handy. And of course, first aid kit with a lot of plasters with a different shape, because if you're not going to use it yourself, you will probably find a lot of people who will need it.
That's a really good point, actually. Like, I like the things about the different shapes because, like you said, there may be people around you, fellow pilgrims, that need the plasters, and who knows what size and shape and where those blisters are going to show up. So yeah, that can be really handy. The squeezable water bottle, so it can be compressed to take up no space in your backpack. And obviously, walking in July and any time of the year, the sun protection is really, really important. Now, I know a lot of pilgrims listening may be thinking about doing the Camino sometime soon, and potentially during COVID times. So I wonder if you could just explain to the listeners specifically your experience walking in these challenging times. And for example, were you expected to wear a mask all the time? Were there times where you couldn't wear a mask, or were you able to not wear a mask, should I say?
Well, of course. Yes, the wearing a mask, it's obligatory everywhere, and albergue as well. The only place there where we were able to go without mask, to walk without masks, it's on a trail. So even if it's a small village, especially if it's a big city, a lot of people, they're controlling it. So it's very important. And if you don't do so, I think that people told us that you will probably get a fee, €100 or something. So, of course, nobody wants to get it. Then also you're supposed to use sanitizers everywhere in a supermercado when you enter it. And if you don't do it, sometimes also people, they control it and ask you to do it if you forget. So it works like this. And I would also say that to all people who are considering to walk Camino during Corona, you can have different points of view on it. It's not like I'm promoting this idea, but if you decided for yourself that you still need to do it, it doesn't matter what, please respect rules that they have in Spain. I think it's very important because we have a great chance to do Camino in such a situation, and it's very important to follow the rules, I think, because it's a respect.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that. So I'm curious to just go into a bit more detail on some of the things you said. So in the albergues, you have to wear your mask the whole time.
Yeah.
Because
we can say, of course, when you sleep, you don't wear a mask. But if you go to the shower, if you go to any places where you probably can maintain the distance, that's important.
Yeah, but out on the trail, in shall we say, when you're in the countryside, you don't have to wear it as long as you can keep the distance.
Yes, exactly. But we were trying anyway. Once we were entering the village, we wore masks.
But as soon as you enter the village, you have to put the mask on.
Yes.
And I know yesterday that there were some laws passed by the Spanish government about smoking as well in public places and on terraces. That smoking is now banned as well. So that's an interesting development. And every time you go into the supermarket, it's obligatory that you must squirt your hands with the hand sanitizer when you go in.
Yeah.
And did you find that was also a step that they made you do in the albergues as well?
Yeah, I think so. And I think in albergue in general now the owners, they have to adjust their routines a lot to follow the rules that government puts, and maybe sometimes the owners the rules, they are changing so quickly and so fast that probably sometimes owners, they are not quite updated as well, but all these restrictions when it comes to wearing masks, disposable bed sheets, sanitizers in a bedroom, because you're also supposed to sanitize the bedroom and shower after yourself. So this is something that they're using now. And of course...
No, sorry, carry on.
And of course, I think that the big disadvantage of the Corona Camino is that we were missing part with the communal dinners. I think it's very important.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing to miss. One of the most special parts of the Camino gone there. So no communal dinners were allowed either.
No.
Wow, that's really sad.
Yes, but of course we tried to organize it by ourselves. Sometimes in several albergue, they have not blocked kitchen. They said that we are not going to cook something together, but you can use it. So we cooked ourselves for us, or if it was not possible to use the kitchen, we just bought some food in a supermercado, and then we probably sat in a garden and have a meal together. So that was like this.
Yeah, because it's still permitted that you can sit outside together, isn't it?
Yes.
And
yes.
I know that the new rule they passed yesterday. I mean, what's the date today? We are speaking on Saturday, the 15th of August, and on the 14th of August, I believe the government passed a decree saying that restaurant terraces now can only be at 75% maximum. So I guess that will be a change that they can see come in the coming weeks and months. And I'm curious, sleeping arrangements, because I think this will be a concern for a lot of people. Is it still bunk beds? Is it single beds? Are the beds spaced out for the 2 meters? How have they managed that?
I would say it's different. Sometimes it's a bunk bed, but you are not allowed to sleep on all of them. So it's just lower beds, or you occupy lower or upper. It's up to you, but still it's just one person who sleeps on it. And then, yes, I think that the distance were kept in majority of albergues. But also I would like to mention that important point that now, because of Corona, they don't provide blankets. In some albergue, it was really essential to have it, because sometimes it's really cold, even if you think about the heat during the day.
Yeah, it can be cold at night. So the moral of
Yes.
that, the moral of that story is for sure bring your own silk liner or your own sleeping bag and pillows. Did they provide pillows as well?
Yes.
Right, so they still provided pillows.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting to hear the different experience of a pilgrim walking during these times and during normal times. But I am convinced that this is all taking us. This is the only option to think this way for me, is that these are the steps to a better normal. I don't like these words, the new normal. I like to think of better normal. And in general, did you find the trail busy? Was it quiet? Was there always space? Because normally during July and August it's the busiest time of the year. So how was it?
No, it was not busy at all. It was quite comfortable. So it also depends what are you after. If you would like to spend the time alone, reflect on something, or you really need to have a company. I would say for me, this time was a perfect mix. Of course, I don't have anything to compare with, because it was just my first Camino. But we all was on that mode when we wanted to be on ourselves. Then we took a time, but at the same time, it was possible to see that somebody is going in front of you or behind. But there were days sometimes that we, for example, were walking and we haven't met any other pilgrims at all. So it's really mixed.
So it's a unique chance in history possibly to walk the Camino in July and August, even September and October coming up, and have a lot more time to yourself than you normally would. So anyone that likes to walk that kind of Camino, and you're able to, it might be a time to take advantage of that. Well, thanks for sharing those experiences, Elena, because you know it's a real gift to have someone that's just walked the Camino, so fresh from their journey, and can share those experiences, and it will be very intriguing and interesting to hear for those that are going to walk it sometime soon. I know there was a guy, I think Jamie Byrne, messaged me. Jamie, if you're listening, hello, and asked me about that. So he will find it particularly interesting. So thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Or should I say spasibo?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that's 50% of my Russian vocabulary gone there, so we won't talk about that. I'll save the next bit till the end. Right, maybe a mistake you made at the start and you wouldn't make were you to go again.
Mistakes. I would say my main mistake was quite predictable, and I knew in advance about it since I was planning to do Camino 1 year beforehand, but then Corona came and I gave up. So I didn't buy any good shoes. I didn't buy backpack, and 1 week before, I decided that probably it's a good idea. So something is happening. It looks like they are going to open borders, and I thought that maybe I buy it and let it be. So I bought all the stuff, but I didn't buy shoes. I used mine. I knew in advance that they are not comfortable and I'm going to have hot spots, but I decided that it's better to use the old ones and know in advance where I'm going to have a hot spot rather than buy completely new one.
So you made the decision pretty
Yeah.
impulsively, like, okay, the borders are going to open, I'm going to go now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
And you
But
obviously think that was a good
to pay
decision
some.
now.
Yes, definitely. If we are talking about Camino in general, I would say that it was one of the most important and most correct decisions in my life to do it. Definitely.
I agree. I would say the same about mine. So let's turn that question on its head then. Were you to go again, say tomorrow, what would you do instead? And what would you advise others to do?
Uh, I would say that probably I was not aware of the blankets, and it was some nights when I really freezed. So I had a blanket with myself, but it was not enough. So if I would pack now, I wouldn't take a blanket, but I would have a sleeping bag instead because I just had a bed liner and it was not enough, definitely.
So the moral of that story is, and we'll repeat it again, it can get cold at night, even in summer. So good
Yes.
idea to take some kind of covering with you because you're not going to find blankets in the albergue. Now, talking of albergues, we always like to ask about an albergue that you would recommend, and I guess you've got so many because the experiences are still fresh. So tell us about an albergue that you would like to recommend.
Yeah, I think it's also, before I mention some albergues that I can recommend, I think it's very important to notice that now, of course, not every albergue is open. So once we started our Camino in San Jean Pied de Port in Pilgrim's office, they provided us with a list of albergues. And it's very important that you call one night in advance just to reserve the place in the albergue that you are going to sleep next night.
So sorry to cut in there. That's a really good point you've raised. Can you just arrive at an albergue or do you have to book in advance?
Well, first we were kind of worried about it, and we started to follow this rule, and we never had a problem to find the place, of course. But probably, maybe I don't know. They say that now it's just 25% of from the common quantity of pilgrims who are on the way. So of course, not all albergue needs to be open, and. Again, we never had a problem to stay, but then we decided, okay, if we just follow the flow, if we are not going to be so predictable and if we're not going to control the situation, just come to the city or village and go to the albergue which are open. And if it's a big city, I think that you are not going to have a problem with accommodation. But if it's the small city, small village, then it can be the point, because sometimes, even though, for example, it said that albergue is open according to information from Pilgrim's office, it still was the only one and it was closed. So we had this problem. We had unforgettable night under the stars.
Okay, well, I'm glad you got a different experience out of that. You took the positive from the negative. So it's not actually required by law to book in advance. Okay,
it's not a law.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Because I wondered if that was one of the requirements that they brought in. Actually, that's great to hear. But if you're going to go into the small villages, then it might be a good idea to phone day in advance and try to
Yes.
book, because there's going to be less opportunities in some places. Not all albergues are open.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. And so
Coming
recommend
back
your
to the
best one.
question.
Yeah.
Yes, I can't say that we had a problems somewhere. More or less, all albergues, they were equal, I would say, but maybe I would mention three of them that I can recommend to stay. First was in Lara Soania. I think it's just first days of the Camino, and albergue was called San Nicolas. It was really nice owner, Luis, who helped us with a lot of problems with the food, with the accommodation in Burgos. So he basically reserved the place for us in a nice albergue. He recommended it.
So, yep.
Then I would recommend Trabadelo, the place is called like that, and Albergue Camino y Leyenda. It felt really like at home. That was perfect food. And the last one, probably I would mention also Santiago, and albergue or hostel was called SCQ. It was very modern, good location, and I can recommend it.
So the albergue San Nicolas in La Rasoaña, which I believe is just after Roncesvalles, like second day, something like that, second night.
Yes.
Is that the albergue with the big wooden doors, triangular roof, and upstairs and downstairs?
Yes.
Okay, I've stayed there as well. Love that place, and very green around there as well. And you can walk down to the river just behind as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, really nice place. And the guy that was it Thomas? You said was his name? Luis. Where did I get Thomas from? I don't know. Okay, so Luis in La Rasoaña, second day after the day after Roncesvalles, Trabadelo, and I wasn't quick enough to jot down the name. Can you say the name, please, again?
Yes, Albergue Camino y Leyenda, if I pronounce it in the right way.
And SCQ in Santiago de Compostela.
Exactly.
3 great recommendations there. Thank you so much. And I'd like you to recommend a place that a must-see or a hidden gem. It could be somewhere out in the countryside, off the beaten trail, off the road less travelled, or it could be a favourite city, town, village, somewhere that you'd recommend pilgrims must see along the way.
Well, of course, I would probably name some obvious places like Pamplona and Leon. That was really great experience. If we're talking about small villages, which I like more, I think, but more or less they were equal. Maybe I liked the experience that it was more calm, cozy. It was more intimate. If we're talking about the atmosphere in general, I would probably name Castro Heris. It was the place where we arrived quite late, 8 o'clock in the evening or something like that, and we didn't really have opportunity to walk around. But in the morning when we were leaving this place, I realized that it was really nice, and I would stay there or at least spend some hours to explore it in a better way.
And with you're not the first pilgrim, should I say, to mention Castro Heris, and to describe it in one sentence, you could say castle on the hill in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, really nice place, and I think that's a great recommendation as well. And talking of recommendations, we like to give some granular information as well. So if you could potentially recommend a specific restaurant, bar or cafe, because these places along the way need our support more than ever, especially with their limited capacities and all the new rules and regulations. So maybe a place where you ate.
I can, and it's the only place on Camino that was really special. It's in Burgos, and the restaurant is called Morito. It's not far from the cathedral. It's just near, and it's quite popular among the local people. When we were leaving this place, it was a queue just to get in. So it's just perfect because the size of the meal is huge. The prices are really, really nice, and the service is good. So really recommend it.
So Restaurante Morito, and it's always a good sign when you see the locals queuing down the
Yes.
street. When I used to live in Barcelona, there was a place where they served hot chocolate, this thick hot chocolate, and the people would literally queue. The locals would queue around the streets. Also, a sandwich place that had been open since 1950, and it was the same thing. That you wonder what all the fuss was about, just these sandwiches. But the locals know better than anybody. So that local hotspot, that local popular place, Restaurante Morito, and I'm guessing that's Morito.
Yes, ITO.
Morito, Restaurant Morito in Burgos, where the locals queue down the street. You can't get a better recommendation than that. Thank you so much, Elena. Now, we're going to go into some Camino quickies, some quick questions, short, sharp, sweet answers, and we're going to start with the first one, which is a favourite Camino blog or book.
I have never read any books about Camino, unfortunately. It's coming now. I will do so because I already have some on my list. But I just was watching a lot of YouTube videos. I can't recommend any specific ones, but it just tones of information. Just go and watch YouTube.
Okay, some sources of information then. A potential favourite forum or Facebook group that maybe you're part of?
Yes, I was following a few groups. One of them is called Camino de Santiago Swedish Pilgrims, because I'm living in Sweden now. And another one is called Camigas, a body system for the women on the Camino.
Camigas, Camigas, Camigas.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Your favourite food and or drink on the Camino?
Café con leche. That was a game changer for me, definitely. In the morning, tortilla de patata and gazpacho.
One thing you wished you'd packed?
Sleeping bag. And maybe flip-flops as well.
One thing you didn't need and wouldn't take again?
Breaking stereotypes, but it was earplugs and blindfold.
You didn't take earplugs or a blindfold?
No, I took, but
sorry.
Them.
Honestly, I'd gone behind myself then. Hardest part of the Camino for you?
Hardest part was the day, actually from Burgos to Castrojiris, we did 40 kilometers. And the second part of it was under the heat. And the surface was completely flat. It was just fields, 10 kilometers around you, and no any wind, no any houses, no any water, no anything. And it was really scary to walk.
A quote or some meditations for the road?
Don't think about Camino that it's a race. Take your time.
Nice. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this term. A guilty pleasure you carried with you?
Yes, I'm familiar. And for
Good
me,
stuff.
it was, earrings.
Just to feel a bit of a glamorous pilgrim along the way.
Yes.
Why not? There's nothing wrong with that. You left the flip-flops, but you took the earrings, so you got your priorities. We can see that.
Exactly.
Potentially a Camino application or internet resource?
Before Camino, I just uploaded several ones, and in practice, I used two. One of them was called Camino Ninja, so it was very handy for building your own route, checking how many kilometers will be from the certain places to another one. And the other one is called Camino Tool. It was handy, for example, if you're following the road and if you don't see any Camino signs and you're a little bit worried if you're still on Camino or not, then it was quite handy to check your location with the GPS.
Camino Ninja, which I guess is Camino then Ninja, NA, when the N's got the little, I don't know what the symbol is called in Spanish, but the little moustache that goes over the second N, for like little girl, translates to in Spanish, and Camino Tool as well, which is, I've seen that on Instagram as well, and sounds like a really handy app. And I guess we can use that segue into the next question, which you used the Camino Tool for. As a lone female walking the trail, did you feel it was safe and you'd recommend other ladies can walk the trail as well and go alone? Because I know that many do go alone and they are anxious that they're going to be safe. How did you find it in general?
It was 100% safe for me. Maybe the only morning that I can refer to where when I didn't feel safe enough, because it was in Leon and I started quite early at 5 o'clock because I wanted to avoid the heat. It was a long route ahead. And I was walking in the middle of the old city, and there, since it was, I don't remember, Friday or Saturday, so it was definitely parties, and still it was some really strange people in the streets, and there I didn't feel really safety, so I decided that maybe it's good to put my credit card to another place to hide it somewhere. So I did it on the way when I realized that yes, it's a little bit scary, but yeah, otherwise no, it's really safe.
Any safety recommendations you could give to any ladies listening?
Don't be naive, because even though you're still you're becoming Camino family and you trust people by default, but it's better to keep your valuables with yourself always, like documents, money, yeah.
And it's quite funny, isn't it? Because it's so strange sometimes when you are walking out of the big cities and your tendency as a pilgrim in the summertime especially is to wake up early to avoid the heat and do as much walking where it's cool as possible. And there were times I remember walking out of Astorga and you're on your way up a mountain or something like that and people are coming back from nightclubs and just such different worlds and headspaces everybody's in that you're walking past drunk pilgrims at 5 a.m. and you're starting your day for a 40k walk or something like that. Very, very strange experience, but yeah, people living in two very, very different worlds. And I'm also intrigued to ask you about, because we do, just like in life, you know, the Camino is a microcosm of life in a month, and life does give us some challenges and hard times. What would you say was your hardest moment along the Camino, and how did you get through it?
I think our hardest moment was almost in the middle, somewhere like that, because first week is really like you're full of energy, you're full of emotions and impressions that you have, and then second week I started to get terrible blisters, and the people, Camino family or Camino friends, the people that you meet on the way, and you are really become friends quite quickly. You can't even realize why it's happening like this. I remember that I got blisters, and my friends, they were fine. So of course they were working quite faster than I, and it was a bit sad to see everybody in front of you, like talking, sitting and having a break together, and I was just by myself trying to overcome this pain and to resist the heat. I think that was a little bit difficult.
So you took your strength from your Camino family.
Yeah.
And from a low point, sorry, you said it sounded like you were going to say something else there?
No.
Okay. From a low point to a high point, what would you say was your highest, most sweetest memory of the Camino? Where you felt the best? I remember coming back from Finisterre, just feeling indestructible, like it was the most unassailable high I'd done this walk and experienced all the things I had and met all the people I had, something I thought I'd never be able to do. What about you?
Yes, I fully agree. For me, Finisterre was something really magical because there I was supposed to spend there just one night because we checked the weather before going there, and it was not that very nice. So I didn't have high expectations, and my plan was to spend one night in Finisterre and then come back to Santiago and just spend one day there before going home. But I changed my plans immediately once I arrived to Finisterre because 23 degrees there feels completely differently if you compare with the Santiago, and it was no any clouds on the sky, ocean around you. It's just magical place, and I would say that I would never think about spending the end of the Camino in such way, but it was exactly what I needed, even though I didn't realize it before.
So you'd recommend visiting Finisterre?
Definitely, because if we are talking about Santiago, I think that I didn't have these emotions that majority of pilgrims had, and my expectations maybe was they were not met. But when I was in Finisterre there, it just, I can't describe it with the words, how happy you feel, in how you feel the harmony around you, and it's just magical.
How long did you spend at Finisterre?
2 days.
2 days.
One day with the friends and one day by myself.
And
it was also very, I would say, logical and correct because you finish with everybody in such a good place, and then last day you spend just alone with your thoughts, thinking, reflecting, because it's a lot of things that actually happened during 1 month, and it's a bit difficult to finish such type of life, such primitive life. And it was like in Santiago, I felt, really, tomorrow I'm not going to wake up again at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not going to find albergue where I'm going to stay or find the way. So it's really weird feeling.
Yeah, I mean, that feeling when you're in Santiago and this sobering, even sickening realization that it's over. It's like, what if it has to be over? Then fine, but if we can keep it going for another 3 or 4 days, why not? And I'm interested as well to ask you, because there may be some pilgrims listening that don't know about Finisterre and they don't know about the rituals and the history behind it. I wonder if you knew about that and you could explain a little bit?
I know that there is a ritual that you come to Finisterre, to the end of the earth, where there is a lighthouse, and pilgrims, they used to leave their boots there, which I didn't do. So that's the ritual that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Did you have a fire? Did you have a drink up on the rocks by the lighthouse with your Camino family?
Not really. Instead of this, that was actually my idea first, because I also was, I saw a lot of pictures with the sunset from that place, and it was just magical. But then we discovered that there is a really nice wild beach, really huge one. And I think that there it was even more magical sunset there. So I took this advantage when it was my last day there. So I bought a gazpacho, the bottle of gazpacho, and then baguette, and I went to the beach just to see sunset, and it was magical.
I mean, my experience of Finisterre is very, very similar. It was just the great way to crown the experience, and I ended up spending 6 nights sleeping on the beach in Finisterre, which was a bit crazy, but I just didn't want my Camino to end.
Why?
Excuse me?
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? And, for those that don't know, just as you said there, Elena, the medieval pilgrims before the Americas were discovered believed that it was the furthest point west in Europe and the end of the world, and that's why they walked there, and that's why it's called Finisterre, finish of the land, which would be the kind of loose Latin translation, and that's why pilgrims walked there, and that's why it's still known today as the end of the world, the Finisterre, end of the earth. And I was up there with some Danish guys and actually a lot of people from all over the world. And they kind of erected this tripod where they made a fire, and we kind of, they burned some of their clothes. That was one of the old things. And there's an Italian guy that threw his sticks into the water. I'm not sure if I'd recommend doing that, to be friendly to the environment. But the idea is behind it is that you shed the skin of the person that kind of walked the Camino, and you are now the new pilgrim, the new person, and you go back to your old life with your Camino lessons, and you are going back with a new mind and all that Camino power. So I'm really happy to hear you had the experience of that. And just to finish, I always like to ask you about a Camino memory, an experience, an encounter, story, something that embodies everything that's good about the Camino and could potentially change someone's mind to walk it if they've decided not to walk it. So can you tell us a Camino story, an encounter, something that may inspire someone to go?
Well, it was actually a lot of the stories, of course, during the month in such an adventure.
Yeah.
Of course, there were some funny stories. Of course, there were some really inspiring stories. But a lot of people, for some reasons, they're worried about going alone, etc. One time we had a story that I mentioned a little bit, that we had to sleep under the open sky, and we were 4 people. 2 sleeping bags, 1 tent for 1 person, and that's it, and 4 people again. But anyway, we had this situation because albergue that we were planning to stay, it was closed. And the city with the open albergue next city, it was quite far away. So we didn't know actually what to do. And we decided that, okay, we are going. And just until we find the first house, and we ask them, the owner, just to do camping on their land, because the wild camping in Spain is prohibited. You need to ask the owners if it's okay for them, if you put the tent or not. So we asked the people if it's fine or not, and we got they're okay. We got also dinner. We had food with us, and then after a while, the owner asked us to come, and it was in La Rioja, I think. So, of course, he was producing wine, and he asked us to try, and then we really became a kind of friends, or he trusted us. So he allowed us to go to to his cellar to try really special ones. So we were very surprised with this hospitality and pleased with this. And then it was a night. We put on all our clothes that we had with ourselves, but we didn't know that it's going to be such cold. So I think that starting from 3 o'clock, we didn't sleep. We just were laying and trying to rub our hands. And I remember that at one moment I just covered my face with the hands because my face was freezing. It was not funny at that moment, but now we all remember this with a laugh, really.
And so amazing that the guy who owned the land just invited you inside to try his wine.
Why? I think it's maybe because it's also Corona time. Of course, it's a little bit exceptional, yes. But
yeah.
I would probably learn some basic Spanish before going Camino, because I was surprised that it's not that often when people were able to speak English not in a good way, but in general, because now in a Corona situation, you have a lot of unusual situations when you need to communicate, but you can't. So I kind of we stopped for the break in a small village, and then I went to the bar to order some tortilla and café con leche, and I started to talk to order, and then the person asked me, "Do you speak English?" And I said yes, and we started to chat in English. I was really pleased because I was missing this communication with a local person, and since we both were wearing masks, of course it was not possible to understand what kind of personality in front of me. But I enjoyed that much with small talks, so I decided to make say a compliment to this person, and I said, "I'm so impressed. You have such a nice English." And he told me, "Thanks. I'm from Ireland." That was really fun.
I've got one other question that I wanted to ask you, and I think it's a great time for this because you are in the transition period. Mm-hmm. You only came back a week ago. How are you dealing with the transition of living on the road like that with such freedom and adventure, and all of a sudden you're back into your normal life? How are you making that transition? How are you finding it?
Since I just came back 1 week ago, I think that the hardest time, they just will come soon. But
okay.
Now I would say that it's really nice still keep in touch with your Camino friends, because you always want to talk about it. You're still you still see some references or some things that probably remind you about some days or stories or something that happened on the Camino with your friends, and then you send in pictures to them. For me, it's really important. And then I would also probably recommend bring something from the Camino that will have a meaning for for you. It's probably some kind of a souvenir. It's probably something from the nature. But for example, I brought the stone, a really small stone in the form of heart, and I found it in a very difficult moment for myself, and it helped me. I believe that probably it gives me some kind of power, I don't know. So each time now when I see it in my flat, I'm just smiling because it's nice memories. It's something that reminds me about Camino.
And you can, sorry, carry on.
And one more advice, probably, maybe somebody will find it stupid, but for me, it was really nice to send myself a postcard from the Finisterre, because there I felt I was in such a great condition, such a great mood. So I decided I need to send something to myself from there. And I just wrote some really touching words that are important for me. So I still didn't get it, of course. It will come. And I think it will be nice memories again.
That is a wonderful idea, Elena. A wonderful idea. I love the postcard. Send it to yourself. It's like you can always get in contact with the pilgrim version of yourself. And I love the grabbing the stone and taking that Camino power when you feel like you need it. It's like something magical. And again, the other thing I took from what you said is make sure you get all the contact details of your Camino family so you can share your stories and wash up those good memories again. And talking of your Camino family, is there anyone you'd like to say hello to, just in case they might end up listening?
Of course, I would say hello to Emma from France, Sparta man from Germany, Catastrophe woman from Italy, a lot of people. Mickey, Robert, girls from France. It's a really huge list.
Elena, it's been so lovely talking to you, and really, really special for the listeners because you're able to share what it's like walking during the pandemic and the changes that pilgrims are going to have to deal with when they go. So really, really useful, really special to talk to you. And I'm so grateful for all the recommendations you've given, for the message you sent as well, that you'd had a good time and you'd had the time of your life. That in itself is the reason why I conduct these interviews every week just to try and get people to walk the Camino and have a life-changing experience like you've had, like I have had. And just to finish, I know I've said this 3 times now, but the conversation is just naturally rolling on. Have you made a declaration to make any changes to your life now you're back from the Camino? Any changes or improvements you thought that you would make?
Not yet, but definitely I can say that I started to think about some things that I never thought in the past, because I thought that no, it's not for me, it's not something that I can do. So now I feel that I'm much more stronger than I thought. And I would say that this experience, it's each and every person has on the Camino. We are really much more powerful than we think, and the sky is the limit.
I love that sentiment. We do find power inside that we perhaps never knew we had. Did you ever think you would end up walking 40 kilometers in one day?
No.
And you did. So it's about finding those parts of our life where actually this power we've got, what can we do with it? All you got to do is grab that Camino stone and you can walk 40 kilometers again. So that's what it's all about. Elena, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you. I'm so grateful for everything you've shared. And I'm going to wish you the Camino motto, just in case you ever go back and walk it again. And also for walking through the life, which is one big Camino, Ultreya, move forward with courage always.
Thanks a lot to you, Bradley, and buen camino.